Now, since it has been shown above that an intellectual substance is not a body, nor is any power dependent on the body, it remains to be investigated whether any intellectual substance can be united to the body. Now, it is clear from the beginning that the intellectual substance cannot be united to the body by the method of mixture, for things that are mixed must be altered to each other. This happens only in those whose matter is the same, which can be active and passive to each other. But intellectual substances do not communicate in matter with corporeal substances, for they are immaterial, as was shown above. They are not therefore immiscible with the body. Still, things that are mixed, having already been made by mixing, do not remain actually, but only by virtue. For if they actually remained, there would be no mixture, but only confusion. Hence there is none of them as a body composed of elements. But this is impossible to happen to intellectual substances, for they are incorruptible, as was shown above. Therefore, the intellectual substance cannot be united to the body by mixing. It is likewise clear that the intellectual substance cannot be united to the body by means of contact properly taken. For touch is nothing but bodies, for there are tangents which are the ultimate at the same time, as points or lines or surfaces which are the ultimate of bodies. Therefore, an intellectual substance cannot be united to a body by means of contact, and from this it is left out that neither by continuation, nor by composition or connection, can the intellectual substance and the body become one. For all these things cannot be without contact. There is, however, a certain mode of contact by which the intellectual substance can be united to the body. For natural bodies alter themselves by touching, and thus they are united to each other, not only according to ultimate quantity, but also according to similarity of quality or form, while the alter impresses his form upon the altered. And although if only the ultimate quantity is considered, there must be a mutual touch in all, yet if attention is paid to action and passion, it will be found that some are only tangential, and some are only touched, but they are touched by them, because they do not suffer from them. If therefore there are any agents which do not touch the ultimates of quantity, they will nevertheless be said to touch in so far as they act, according to the manner in which we say that what grieves us touches us. Therefore, in this way of touch, it is possible to unite the intellectual substance to the body through contact. For intellectual substances act upon bodies and move them, since they are immaterial and exist more in action. But this touch is not of quantity, but of power. Hence this touch differs from the bodily touch in the three. Firstly, because by this touch that which is indivisible can touch the divisible. This cannot happen in bodily touch, for a point can only be touched by something indivisible. But the intellectual substance, although it is indivisible, can touch a divisible quantity, inasmuch as it acts upon it. For in another way, it is an indivisible point, and an intellectual substance. A point, indeed, is like the limit of quantity, and therefore it has a determined position in the continuum, beyond which it cannot be extended. But the intellectual substance is indivisible, as if existing outside the species of quantity. Wherefore it is not determined to him that there is something indivisible in quantity to be touched. Secondly, because the touch of quantity is only according to the last, but the touch of power is to all that is touched. For in this way it is touched according to what it suffers and moves, but this is done according to what is in power. But power is according to the whole, not according to the last of the whole, whence the whole is touched. From this the third difference is clear. Because in the touch of quantity, which takes place according to the extremes, there must be a tangent external to that which is touched, and he cannot proceed through it but is hindered by it. Now the touch of virtue, which belongs to intellectual substances, since it is intimate, causes the tangible substance to be within that which is touched, and to proceed through it without hindrance. That which is made according to the ends must be tangent to that which is external to him, and he cannot proceed through it, but is hindered by it. Now the touch of virtue, which belongs to intellectual substances, since it is intimate, causes the tangible substance to be within that which is touched, and to proceed through it without hindrance. That which is made according to the ends must be tangent to that which is external to him, and he cannot proceed through it, but is hindered by it. Now the touch of virtue, which belongs to intellectual substances, since it is intimate, causes the tangible substance to be within that which is touched, and to proceed through it without hindrance. Thus then the intellectual substance can be united to the body through the contact of power. But those things which are united according to such a contact are not simply one, for they are one in acting and suffering, which is not simply to be one. For thus it is said that how and being are one, but being an agent does not mean simply being. Hence, to be one in action is to be simply one. But one is simply said threefold, or as indivisible, or as continuous, or as that which is by reason one. But from the intellectual substance in the body, it is not possible to make one which is indivisible, for it must be a composite of two, nor again that it is a continuum, because the parts of the continuum are of the same size. It therefore remains to be inquired whether it is possible for intellectual and bodily substance to become one in the same way that it is one in reason. But from two permanent things nothing becomes one by reason, except as from substantial form and matter, for from a subject and an accident it does not become one by reason, for the ratio of man and white is not the same. It therefore remains to be inquired whether the intellectual substance of any body can be a substantial form. But it seems to those who consider it reasonable that this is impossible. For from two actually existing substances, nothing can be made one. For the act of each is that by which it is distinguished from the other. Now the intellectual substance is a substance actually existing, as appears from the foregoing, and likewise the body. Therefore something cannot be made one, as it seems, from an intellectual substance and a body. Still, form and matter are contained in the same genus, for every genus is divided by act and power. But the intellectual substance and the body are different kinds. It does not seem possible, therefore, that one should be the form of the other. Further, everything whose being is in matter must be material. But if an intellectual substance is the form of a body, its existence must be in corporeal matter. For there is no existence of form apart from the existence of matter. It follows then that the intellectual substance is not immaterial, as was shown above. Again, it is impossible for that whose existence is in the body to be separated from the body. But the intellect is shown by the philosophers to be separated from the body, and that neither the body nor the power is in the body. Therefore, the form of the body is not an intellectual substance, for so its being would be in the body. Still, the being of which is common to the body, the operation must also be common to the body, for each thing acts according to its being. Nor can the operative power of a thing be more sublime than its essence, since the power of the essence results from the principles. But if an intellectual substance is the form of a body, its being must be common to itself and to the body. For from form and matter something becomes simply one, which is according to being one. Therefore the operation of the intellectual substance will be common to the body, and its virtue will be virtue in the body. From the premises it is clear that this is impossible.